Good morning, Big Ten fans. Welcome back to another edition of the Big Ten Morning Minutes. I'm your host, Michael Chen. You can give me a follow on Twitter at MFC2123. I apologize for the lateness of this podcast this morning on Tuesday, February 19th, 2019. I'm a little under the weather today, so I slept in a little bit and coming to you now. So we'll get started on the hardwood, as that's where most of the action happened yesterday. Big Ten gave out their weekly honors. Second week in a row, Illinois' guard Ayo Dosunmu has been Freshman of the Week. Dosunmu was trending pretty hard on some NBA draft boards as well. Looks like there's a potential for him to be a first-round pick. So hopefully for Brad Underwood, the freshman elects to stay in Champaign and continue his college basketball career, but there's a very distinct possibility that Dosunmu can move on to the next level and be a highly thought of first round pick. So we'll continue to monitor that as well. And then senior forward Jordan Murphy from Minnesota is going to take home the conference honor for the week. He had a fantastic week, and he's a senior, so obviously doing it all 4 years for the Golden Gophers. Nick Ward, like I mentioned yesterday, had hurt his hand on Sunday in the contest against Ohio State, and he actually ended up having surgery yesterday. He's expected to be out anywhere between 3 and 5 weeks. Tom Izzo was very nonchalant about the way that he explained the injury, because I don't think they even know the exact timetable that Ward will be out. But Ward obviously is a big cog in the Michigan State machine, and obviously for them to contend for a national championship, you would expect that Ward would have to be on the court for the Spartans and Tom Izzo. ESPN released their top 16 teams in the country yesterday for men's basketball. Only 3 teams this week made it for the Big Ten. You have Michigan leading the pack at 6. Still in the top 10, Michigan State at 9, and then towards the bottom of their list at 13, it's Purdue. So Big Ten schools, not necessarily highly thought of by ESPN, but again, I think that is just a part of the conference being deep and beating up on each other as well. The AP and the coaches both came out yesterday. We'll start off with the AP. They have Michigan ranked 7th, Michigan State at 10, Purdue is at 15. You have a bunch of Big Ten schools in the 20s. You got Iowa at 21, Wisconsin at 22, and Maryland at 24. So although the top of the conference isn't very well represented, the conference is well represented as well in the AP. And over to the coaches poll, you have Michigan, same spot at 7. You have Michigan State a spot lower at 11. Purdue's a couple spots higher at 13. And then Iowa's moved up a few spots as well at 19. Then you have Wisconsin at 23. And then Maryland would be tied for 25. So a little bit of discrepancy on the polls for the teams, but not much. They're all about bunched in the same area where about they should be. But again, although the lower schools in the Big Ten, they're not very highly ranked, I think they're still very, very solid teams. Although I don't think that there's national championship contenders. I think that belongs to the 2 teams up in Michigan. So we'll see how obviously that ends up shaking out. There's still about a month left in the season. So March Madness is right around the corner, and we'll see where these teams end up as well. And then just one football note, Mike Locksley, the Maryland head coach, I spoke about him yesterday. I'm going to speak about him today. I think he's done an absolutely fantastic job since taking over after the bowl season. And this time he goes out and gets a transfer quarterback in Josh Jackson, formerly of Virginia Tech. Jackson is definitely, I wouldn't say he's an insurance for the position, but I think that most likely you're going to see him at the head of the position. Obviously, incumbent starter Tyrell Pigrome is there. He was pretty inconsistent during the season, viewed more as a running quarterback. They lost Kasim Hill. Obviously, Hill had an ACL injury, but during that period of time, Hill kind of saw the writing on the walls, and he opted to transfer. And then incoming freshman Lance Legendry still hasn't made it to campus yet. He is highly thought of, but unfortunately, it doesn't look like he's going to be ready in the eyes of Locksley to take over the most important position in all of sports for the Maryland Terrapins. So look for Jackson to be the starter this coming fall. And again, I think Mike Locksley has done a fantastic job. It's just, every couple of days, he's just continuing to add on. He gets some players and coaches that fit his scheme and what he's looking to do. So I commend Mike Locksley very much. I'm very interested to see in a few years where he ends up taking this Maryland program, because I think they're on the up and up. I really do. I know Maryland has never really been a football powerhouse, but I think Mike Locksley, you see a lot of Alabama coordinators go to smaller schools and they might not necessarily succeed right away. I think that won't be the case with Locksley. I think Locksley is going to come in there and do a fantastic job right away and, get that Maryland program to some respectability. I don't think they'll compete for national championships, or at least right away, and it might be a few years, 4 or 5 years, for him to get that locked down, if it even happens. But I do think that they are trending in the right way. They're going to be a thorn in a lot of sides of Big Ten programs as well. So we'll keep an eye out for Mike Locksley and what he ends up doing over there at College Park in Maryland. And that's going to do it for this morning's edition of the Big Ten Morning Minutes. I appreciate you bearing with me. Although I didn't cough or sneeze or have my nose running much, it is happening, and I appreciate you sticking with me. Have a great day, Big Ten fans.